We got Drew Dober back here on the program. He's going to be taking on Beneil Dariush at UFC on ESPN Plus 4 on March 9th. Drew, what's going on, man? How are you?
Just another day in the life. Just train, eat, sleep, and repeat.
Yes, and today's your rest day. What does a perfect rest day for you look like? I imagine some naps, imagine a little bit of TV, maybe some video games. What does the rest day look like?
Pretty much kick your feet up and not think about fighting. This day is involves around everything outside the cage. But getting this close to the fight, I generally do a long run on either Saturday or Sunday just to kind of flush out the body and then get my body conditioned for the weight cut.
Absolutely. Well, that's good. You get a little bit of a rest day here. Your last fight went really well. You got that win over Jon Tuck at UFC Fight Night 135. I know you would have liked the finish, but you must have been pretty happy with that performance. You got a unanimous decision.
Yeah, a win always feels great, and especially beating a guy as talented as Jon Tuck is great. But yeah, win or lose, I still look at my performance and really nitpick. I'm a perfectionist, and so there's a lot of things in that fight that I wanted to improve on. And so I spent my off season kind of just adding new things to my game, and then just mixing it in with the rest of the things I've already been doing. So always trying to be a better fighter every time to the cage.
Yeah, I was going to ask. That was going to be my next question. Is why sort of the layoff in between fights? I figured we would have seen you on the Denver card, but I guess you wanted to take that time to improve a little bit for your next fight.
Yeah. Honestly, I was asking for a fight in September, and so the reason I didn't get a fight is I don't know why. So I keep on asking for fights, and then just kind of wait for the opportunity, wait for the emails.
Okay. Fair enough. Let's talk about this matchup here against Dariush. He's got that 15-4-1 record. How do you feel like you match up against him?
Great. I think I match up with anyone in the top 10 fantastically. I think I've made a lot of changes, and I think I'm coming into my potential. 30 years of age, but still I feel like I'm hitting my prime as of now. So I honestly think it's just going to be a great fight. When I look at Dariush as an opponent, I mean, he's great everywhere. He's a good wrestler, good jiu-jitsu, good striker. And I think his biggest attribute is his composure. Like, the way he's able to kind of like stay calm and composed throughout his fights is fantastic. But considering in the manner in which he's lost his last two, I'd be looking to kind of repeat that.
Yeah, I was going to say the blueprint's kind of out there to beat him. I mean, to a certain degree, assuming you could pull it off, but that is flurry him early on because he seems to back up, and when he gets tagged, it's game over. Hernandez did that in his UFC debut. I forget the other fight where he lost. Was it Ramsey Nijam? I want to say years ago that flurried him as well. There was one fight where I think he was favored and he ended up losing. Yeah, do you look at those and kind of say, hey, I could probably do that?
I mean, yeah. It's like I can't rest so much confidence in film, because Dariush is going to come in as a different fighter in this fight as he has been, and I'm a completely different fighter than I was when I fought Jon Tuck. So the fight's going to be different, and plus it's my own journey, I'm not going to try to repeat the Hernandez or repeat the Barbosa. I'm going to lay my path, and so I'm going to beat Dariush the way, Drew Dober is supposed to beat him. And, I'd love to get a knockout, I'd love to get a performance, but I also would love to get a fight of the night. So just all I know for sure is this is going to be fantastic. It's going to be exciting.
How's the weight cut going ahead of this matchup? I believe you had a decent amount of notice for this one, so the cut shouldn't be too bad.
Yeah, I mean, the cut's, a thing I have to do. I'm a pretty big lightweight, but no, just working with George Lockhart and kind of like that system and all that stuff. Like, the weight there, it's fine. I still got to cut some weight, so it's not going to be like a super easy, walk in a park. But everything's on schedule, everything's on path, and it's descending healthily.
I know it's annoying to talk about the weight cut because it seems like for whatever reason you get targeted because you do cut a lot more weight than some other fighters. I'm assuming that's why, but it seems like the commission, all different commissions are always kind of, putting the hands up saying, hey, we got to, take a closer look at this. How has that been? Because it seems like that's not happening to a lot of other fighters.
I mean, it's an extra added stress, but I mean, any publicity is good publicity, so I'm at least getting that. Yeah, I just feel like people are now kind of seeing kind of the unhealthy ways in which people are cutting weight, but they're not acknowledging the healthy ways in which people are cutting weight. I think the biggest problem is just that 15-pound difference between weight classes. You know, like that 55 to 70. It's like that 15 pounds, like it translates to an even bigger weight difference of walking around weight. Like I don't nearly get as big as Tyron Woodley does. So if I'm forced to move up to 170, like now I'm at a disadvantage. And there's a bunch of other things. I think my body type and the fact that like I carry more muscle, so I'm gonna naturally weigh more, but I'm able to fluctuate more water wise, sodium and all that stuff, and so I'm able to cut weight, a lot more fluently and like healthily than other fighters. And so, I mean, it's just an attribute that I have. And so, whether you're super fast or strong or tall or short or like, I'm able to cut weight, and so it's an advantage that I have.
Your training camp, I hear, is going well. I just talked to Dominic Reyes yesterday. I know he's down there training with you guys. You have a lot of different training partners, it seems, especially in Colorado, where it seems like there's a lot more cross training going on. How is everything going?
Oh, it's fantastic. I Probably one of the best decisions I made moving out to Denver, Colorado. It's We have everything out here. All the stuff that you have at the UFC Performance Institute, we have out here. Just like a long list of just talented individuals. Just it's a very athletic city, and it's a pretty big fight city as well. So opportunity to get beat up is limitless out here. So Monday through Friday, I'm just trying to survive.
Now, I imagine you train with everyone, like from Neil Magny to everyone else. What about some of the lighter guys? I know Austin Hubbard's a guy that really has been lighting things up recently. Won the LFA title. Who are some of the other guys you get to work with?
Oh yeah, Austin Hubbard is one of my main training partners. Super talented. He deserves to be in the UFC. I work pretty close with Justin Gaethje. Those are some entertaining rounds. Carrington Banks. He was on the Ultimate Fighter when it was American Top Team versus.
He's in Bellator now. He actually just
Yeah.
I know he lost to a Canadian guy I know quite well, Mandel Nallo, but that was a dangerous fight. I don't think I think a lot of people didn't know much about Mandel, but we did up here in Canada, so it's an
Yeah,
interesting fight.
unfortunately with fighting, you take risks and sometimes it doesn't go your way. But Carrington in the gym, like he pushes me super hard. So, I'd like to see big things from him. And then we got Lavelle Simpson, who, is fighting in the local circuits. I got a lot of low tier like professional guys helping me out. A lot of like all American college wrestlers helping me out. And then of course Justin Gaethje, Neil Magny, Dom and I spar every once in a while. So it's a tough room.
Yeah, no easy days. It's like they said, the training camp can sometimes be harder than the fight itself. So there you
Oh,
go.
incredibly.
Who's going to be in your corner for this fight?
So I got my typical corner, Oscar Martinez, my striking coach. Dave Zabriskie is my wrestling coach, and then Elliot Marshall's my jiu-jitsu coach. So they're all flying out to Wichita, Kansas. I apologize to them, but that's what we're fighting.
Sorry we didn't get in on Miami or anything like that. Like we have to go to
No,
Wichita. Yeah, no, that's fine. How do you see this fight playing out on March 9th?
oh God. I think I'm going to put the pressure on Beneil. It's up to Beneil whether he wants to stand or wants to try to wrestle. But my game plan is I'm just going to stand there and play punch face for 15 minutes, and I'm either going to get fight of the night or performance of the night. But that's really up to him.
And is the plan after this, if you come out unscathed, to get some momentum going, try and get a few more fights in this year, just to get the run going? You mentioned you're 30, you're in your prime. I imagine the time to make a run to the titles right now.
Yeah, and that's kind of my New Year's resolution, or kind of like my recap of 2018, which is I'm not satisfied fighting once or twice a year. Like this time is limited. You're gonna retire, in your 30s at some time. So it's like my time's running out, and I'm not satisfied getting only two fights, and so I'm fighting as much as possible this year, 3, 4 times, and then I just signed with a management company, Ballingy, and they're doing their best to find me more fights as well. So
That's interesting. Oh, I've never heard of them. Who else do they rep? Anyone notable besides yourself?
so they rep a couple guys in the UFC, but their most notable negotiation or a notable signing as of recently is the Eddie Alvarez 1FC
Oh, cool.
negotiation.
Okay,
So
nice.
yeah, they're fairly new, but I like what they're saying. I like what they've been doing, and so yeah, I just signed with them at the beginning of this year. So we want to see big things.
Excellent. Well, we're looking forward to that, and we're certainly looking forward to this fight. It's coming up here March 9th. It is UFC Wichita, aka UFC on ESPN Plus 4. It's a mouthful. Drew, thanks so much for the time, man. It's always good catching up. If you got any sponsors or social media, and I'm sure you got some social media you want to promote, so the floor is yours.
Yeah, you follow me at Instagram tag Drew Dober, Twitter's Drew Dober, Facebook's Drew Dober, and I just want to shout out to Balanji Group for helping me out and getting me more opportunities in the limelight and in the cage.